I'm Dr. Erica Bove, and welcome to the Love and Science podcast. I'm your host, and also the founder of Love and Science, Thriving Through Infertility. I'm so excited you're here today. With over a decade of experience helping thousands of women just like you, I empower professional women to build their families with confidence and compassion. Let's dive in. Hello, my loves, and welcome back to the Love and Science podcast. I am so excited about today's conversation. I have one of my mentors, Dr. Una, who is here today to talk with us. If you spent 30 seconds with me ever, you've probably heard me mention Dr. Una just because her presence, her community, her effect on my ability to serve in the form of love and science, it's just so profound. So she's here today to talk about entrepreneurship. And by way of introduction, Dr. Nneka Unachukwu is the founder of EntreMD, which is a company on a mission to help 100,000 physicians build profitable 7 and 7+ figure businesses so that they have the freedom to live life and practice medicine on their terms. Doesn't that sound amazing? She does this through the EntreMD Business School, the only school of its kind for physician entrepreneurs, the EntreMD podcast, a top 1% podcast, and her best-selling books, which they are fabulous. You should read them all. Dr. Una, which is what I call her, as she is so fondly called, has been featured in Forbes, and her company was on the Inc. 500 list of fastest growing privately held companies in America for 2 years running. And she also happens to be a board certified pediatrician who lives in Atlanta. And so you know how obsessed I am with physician coaches, and Dr. Una is here to share her wisdom today. Welcome, Dr. Una. It is so wonderful to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to this because you're amazing. I love talking with you. And if you're going to introduce me that way, I'm going to have to take you everywhere I go. They're like, who are you? I'm like, hang on, Dr. Bove has the answer.
I would be honored. And, I am a member of the EntreMD Business School, and I am about almost 2 years to my second year anniversary. And another fertility physician told me about Dr. Una and was like, you should check out her podcast. You should read her book, because I think what you're trying to do with love and science, I think you will have accelerated growth. You will have community. You will upgrade your identity, like all the things that you're afraid of in trying to start this wonderful idea that you will have support. You will have exactly what you need. And this was another REI, Dr. Carolina Swaldo, who I'm going to get to talk with later this week. So thank you, Dr. Swaldo, for connecting us, because like I said, Dr. Una, you've just been one of the most influential people in my entire life. So thank you for that. I wanted to start this podcast by asking you, why do you do what you do?
Oh, man. You started with the deepest question of them all.
That is the 7-figure question. That is the 7-figure
That
question.
is a 7-figure question. Yeah. So I'll take you back a little bit to help it make sense. You know, when I started off as a pediatrician, um, I had at that point, you could argue, one of the best educations in the world, right? Like as a whole, I was a whole physician at this point. I was really good at what I did. And I was a super shy, socially awkward, introverted introvert. And I thought being an introvert was a handicap. And so I felt like I had this handicap. I could never be a speaker. I could never network and all of those things. I had an incredible amount of fear. And so because of that, there were things I thought I could do, but I never tried to do them because I'm not the kind of person who could do that. So I had that. I had an incredible amount of fear. And I just couldn't bring myself to dream really big about the future. Now, someone say, but you're a physician, so you must have dreamt some kind of big. But everywhere we get to, there's more. You know what I mean? And I just couldn't do it. So in a way, I felt handicapped. In a way, I felt trapped. In a way, I knew there was more, but I wouldn't dare go after it. So that was me at a state where people are like, this is a very successful person, right? This was what was going on in the background. And then I started this whole journey of, personal development and all of this. I realized those 3 things were false, right? Like being an introvert is not a handicap. It's actually a superpower. It's just that we may be strong where extroverts are weak, and extroverts are, weak where we're strong. And so looking at, like, maybe I'd want to spend time alone and all that stuff may be perceived as a weakness. But the truth of the matter is that also is a strength because I'm able to come up with the best transformational content because I'm a deep thinker. I'm able to, take things that are very complex, make them very simple because I'm a deep thinker, right? And all this stuff. So the books, the podcasts, all those things came out of my strength of being an introvert. And anything I think, oh, I can't do because I'm an introvert, is not actually true. They're skills. Like speaking is a skill and networking is a skill. These are all skills. They can all be learned, right? And then the fear, it's like, what are you talking about? Like you've been afraid of everything you've done anyway. Like why are we letting it stop us here?
Right,
Like
right, right. Yeah,
this is shown up everywhere, and then I started learning there are frameworks and pathways. And if there's something you're like, I think this is why I'm here, this is what I'm called to do, or this is something that I could potentially do, just go for it. And that turned into companies, plural. That turned into being on the Inc. 5000 list. That turned into helping thousands. Can you imagine this introvert? Thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And once I saw that, I couldn't unsee it because then I turned to the people I'm called to, which is physicians. And we're in this state where doctors, the narrative is we're stuck. We have to stay in our own lane. We're great clinicians. We don't know anything about business, so we can never be great entrepreneurs. And people say, oh, they have stupid deals. They like sell them to doctors and they call them doctor deals. But I know that inside every physician is a level of greatness that they could not have imagined was possible. And so I just go about and I'm like, okay, we look like we're stuck. Entrepreneurship is the path to get out of all of this. It is the great equalizer. For instance, you would hear pediatricians say, I'm a lowly pediatrician. You would never hear me say that because
yeah.
entrepreneurship is the great equalizer. And um, so I'm all in on no. If you can learn these few things, if you can overcome these few mindsets, if you can practice these few things, you can have everything that you really wanted. Um,
Mhm.
and so because I've seen it and I've experienced it and I've seen it with so many of my clients, I can't unsee it.
Yeah.
And that is the why that drives me. Like, and seeing a doctor go from employed physician to running a practice and employing, 20 people, running a multi seven-figure practice in the space of 3 years. And I'm not saying that will be everybody's story, but seeing that tells you, huh, you know? And so, yes, so that's why. That's why.
It's so beautiful. And I've been a witness to so many, hundreds of these transformations and the friends that I have now and the colleagues that I wouldn't have otherwise. It is real and it's true. And the way that you are able to help people tap in to their greatness with such a beautiful framework that is doable. People say, how are you able to do this, do all this, love and science and work, your job, your employed physician. And I say, I just do what Dr. Una says and it works. But I was thinking, so, as I actually was awoken in the middle of the night, I was so excited about this podcast. I sleep well, right? But it was like, God just said to me, like, you must write these things down. Like it was a moment of inspiration. And I was thinking about entrepreneurship and the fertility journey and how many similarities there are. And I was thinking about, how you have helped me with my own mindset and upgrading my identity and possibility thinking and visioning what's to come and then how it then comes to fruition and time management. And I was hoping maybe we could spend a few minutes talking about your method, right? The EntreMD method and how those tools could apply to somebody. Most of my people are female physicians, rock stars, right? Who are completely disempowered by this process, completely in analysis paralysis, who have forgotten their worth and completely tie it to something completely external, fear, overwhelm, doubt, shame, the whole thing. And so I see my role as giving that back to people and bridging them to parenthood. And the tools that you have, right, for entrepreneurs, I think are exactly what people on the fertility journey, specifically female physicians, because that's your niche as well. That's what they need. And so I would love to maybe talk about mindset. How do you approach mindset as we're thinking about entrepreneurship? And how can you take somebody who may have forgotten who they are, who may never have been aware of what they're capable of, and how do you restore that to them?
Yeah, so that's a really powerful question, and I say really powerful because I used to be in the camp of forget the mindset, you just need the strategies, and all this. And this is not true. This is not a true thing. Okay, so I overcame that many years ago. It's actually the starting point, and if that's not in order, the strategies really don't matter. Like until we fix this, and so I would like to maybe walk us through is like what you would do with with the RBI, which is a tool we use in the
Yeah.
EntreMD Business School, and kind of just walk through that process. Okay, so let's say I find myself in the middle of some really stinking thinking, right? And
Mm,
everybody has this. Nobody is special because they have limiting beliefs or thoughts that are weird. This is what happens to us as humans. It's just that we happen to be fortunate. We're in a place where, like, number one, I'm thinking. Number two, I'm aware of what I'm thinking. So then, number three, let's do something about what we're thinking. And so, the starting point for me, of all of mindset work in general, is putting ourselves in that position to see that preferred future, right? A lot of times our minds are filled with where we are and the challenges and all of that, or where we've been. And a lot of times we filter where we've been and come up with only the challenges. Like we don't even remember the wins from where we've
mhm,
been, right? And so it's this deeply negative place. And the problem with our minds, which is also a great thing about our minds, is whatever we see is what we get. And so if we're constantly on, the challenges I'm having now and the challenges I've had all my life, then all we're going to create as we go is more challenges, right? And so I may even do a preamble to the first part, which is, take a look back at the things that seem like big challenges once upon a time that you overcame. Now, if you're
mhm,
not used to doing
mm,
it's hard, right? Because all our lives, the default setting is to see the challenges. You have to stop and say, you know what, that one exam that I thought there was no way, or that medical school that I thought there was no way I could get in there, or that, or, there's so many things that we've overcome. In fact, you remember there have been times where I'm like, okay, before you do this, you're going to sit down, you're going to write 25 wins you've had in life. And like 25. And I'm like, it's not a typo. Like, you have to do, but it puts you in this mindset of, hang on, I've come out of more impossible things.
mhm,
Maybe this will just be one of them, right?
mhm,
And so the first one, since we're making up a framework on the fly. So the first one really be extreme gratitude, but you have to stop and look for what to be grateful for, right?
mm, mhm,
And the more you practice this, the more positive you'll be and the more possibilities you can see. Because once you start recognizing possibilities, then you're like, I get what else could happen, right? So that's
mhm,
the first part is extreme gratitude, but you have to take inventory of all the wins. Okay. The second part is then projecting to say, what could the future look like? And a lot of times, especially as physicians, right? Because the analytical part of our brain is like on fire. Sometimes the other piece are like, what could it look like? So people would then tell me, but I'm making it up. I'm like, yeah, and the thing you're afraid of, you're making that up too.
exactly.
So if we're going to make stuff up, why don't
Yeah.
we make what works for us, right? And it's not just magical thinking like in 2 days I'm going to be the president. Like that's not what I mean, but what could happen? And I'm sure you're here, Dr. Bove, as you lean in a little more, you'll find that you have all these secret desires that you've always been afraid to voice. This is then your opportunity to voice them. Like, what if this was then my reality? What was, and you can define what that is. In the beginning, you may be only able to pull up three things. The more you do it, the better you get at it. And once you start looking at that, your brain is a servant. Okay. It will work whatever picture you give it. Then it'll start saying, "Ooh, how can we do that?" And all of that. But it doesn't happen till you give it a picture. So really, it's starting to see that preferred future. Allow yourself go there. It's your imagination. It's free. In the EntreMD Business School, we say there's no imagination police. Like it's your imagination. And you allow yourself think, what could this look like? What could that look like? And you start painting pictures. In fact, there's an exercise I did, Dr. Bove, which is like someone did like 101 things you want to do before you die. And whether you do all of them or not, you will once you start writing, you start doing a lot of stuff. But actually, when I did that in 2017. one of my things there was write one best-selling book.
Oh, you crushed that one.
Like one. I'm like, you know, so you write all kinds of, you know, stuff, but it's more so the exercise that forces you to start thinking of your future in a deliberate way where you're curating it as opposed to, you know, any crazy thought that comes into your head. And so really it's just mapping out that vision, preferred future. What could that look like? And I really
Yeah.
would challenge everyone listening, like if you could start doing that, it will rock your world. I'll give you an example. I called one of my mentees and I said, have a seat. I was like, what if we did an event? And in this event, we generated $2 million. At this time, my business was doing $200,000. Okay. So you understand, like, so, but what if
10x.
we generated
Yeah. Yeah.
2 million from this event? What would
Yeah.
have to happen? Right. And you can go there. So I'm like, oh, we did it, you know, 2 million did it. And then we started and on paper, we came up, it took us about an hour and a half, but we came up with how that could happen. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, there's so many things that we've done that are either there or really close to there,
Mhm.
but until you allow yourself go there, you're not going to get there. So it's allow yourself to go there. Okay.
And that's, I think that is really key. And I will say, I've been with you for 2 years and we think in terms of quarters, so 3-month intervals. I am shocked every single time I look back at the list of things that I thought were impossible. I am shocked when I look back, and it's like my new normal now. I mean, it is the power of dreaming and imagining and allowing ourselves to go there and then writing it down and then shutting the book. I mean, you sometimes even, but it does something to the subconscious, like you said. So then I think our brains filter out that preferred future, right? Or they filter for the things that don't serve us, and they also filter for the things that do serve us, those connections. And I mean, people talk about manifestation and all the woo and everything, but this trains our brains, and the things that we thought were not possible are possible. And so if I take this to the fertility, this is the biggest objection I get is, but Coach Erica, like, I've only gotten negative news thus far, and it is so crushing and painful every single time I have an embryo transfer and there's a negative pregnancy test, or every single time I think my lining is going to be thick enough and it isn't, and I have a canceled cycle. How, like, I'm scared to even let myself imagine it could work because it is so soul crushing every time I get that bad news. And that is one thing I help people with, right, at Love and Science. What would you say to somebody in that situation who wants more than anything to become a parent, who has, gotten a lot of bad news? Usually when we look back, there's some positive and, some good news and some bad news. But what would you say to that person who's afraid to allow themselves to give themselves that permission to think in that way?
Yeah. I mean, so the first thing I will say is, you know, I don't want it to make it seem like what's wrong with you? Do this. Like I would never say that.
Right.
So virtual hugs first, right? Like
Yeah.
big, long, squeezy virtual hugs first. Um, but on the other hand, I this is my default setting. There is a version of a life that I want to have, or I think I could have, or that I strongly desire. And I do think that things we strongly desire, chances are there is a wiring for it to be ours. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because why don't we desire everything? But anyway, and I'm willing to go all out to get that. I'm willing to dare to, like, what to me, I'm like, what's the worst that will happen?
Right.
And that's what allows me go there. Is like, what the worst that will happen is I'm where I am now.
Hmm.
I'm already here. And so if I can use my imagination to go somewhere else, I will use it. Do you see what I mean? Like that's kind of the philosophy because I'm not nearly trying to compare the journey of fertility to entrepreneurship, because those are two very different journeys. Um, but a lot of times, even for you, you'll find before you allow yourself start imagining, you can't actually see that what you want to do is possible. So it's like where you are now, that's it. Like this is it. Maybe it might get a little better, but this is it. It's only when you let yourself go and allow yourself to start imagining and keeping those pictures and all that the belief is so much stronger that you can pull it off. The pathways become so much clearer. You start
Yeah.
attracting people into your world who can help you and support you and all of those things. And it's almost like none of that happens till the imagination happens.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I would say again, long, deep hugs and all of that. But man, if that desire is there, give it the
Mhm.
gift of your imagination. You know?
That's
That's
exactly
the way
right.
I approach it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's so powerful to say, okay, well, what's the worst that could happen? It's where I am now. And I've weathered bad news before. I know I can weather bad news again if that is what comes. I try to help people realize that this is just because the outcome hasn't realized itself yet does not mean it's not going to. Right. And we can make those connections. We can build our dream team. We can engage in that visioning and that possibility thinking. And I think it changes our nervous systems. I think it truly allows things to work better or have you might see something, a resource that you didn't know existed before, and then make those connections. It is so amazing to do that. And so I've heard you say before, be, do, have. Be, do, have. And so we need to lean into this new identity. And maybe that's, I am a fertile person, right? I am here on this planet to become a mother. Those are scary things to say if they're not the
Yes.
reality yet.
Yes.
But when we can start, and I have chills just saying this, when we can start leaning into that expansive view of ourselves, that's really when the magic starts. That's when I start to see the treatments work. I say, you know, hope, hope for the best. And this is not hope like pie in the sky hope. This is authentic hope, which is hope grounded in science. We have the science behind us, and then let go of the outcome. And that is the sweet spot. If I can get people to that sweet spot in coaching, that's when things start happening. So I think I've learned so much from you in this imagining. And I think, every single day I do this exercise called the reinvention by imagination. I even recorded myself saying it because I liked hearing my own voice because
Yeah.
again, you lean on
Yeah.
yourself. I
And
upgraded about every 6 months. Yeah.
I really want to throw out because again in the beginning the visionary and imagination piece can be a little tough,
Mm.
and so there are two hacks that we added on to that, and one of the hacks is there may be somebody who is where you want to be. Like
Mhm.
you're like, I can't imagine it. Like Dr. Una,
Right.
Dr. Bob, I hear you guys, I can't imagine it, right? But there's somebody who's where you want to be. I literally make a list of those people, right? Maybe
Same.
three or maybe five.
Yeah.
And then I identify as somebody that's like them. You know what I mean? Like, so let me bring you to entrepreneurship, right? So let's say I'm like, okay, I want to build a $10 million company. And I don't even know how to imagine that. And I
Mhm.
find three other people who are running $10 million, $20 million companies, and I put them as, they're my examples of what is possible. They're my vision boards. And I'm like one of them. So I imagine myself like one of them, right? Like we all sit at the table and we're all discussing our 10 million, $20 million businesses and stuff like that. And so if it's hard, like you're going to try, you're going to push it. But the idea is the more you push it, the more you can experience. You know what I mean? The more
That's
because every journey you're going to take on the outside, you would have taken it internally first. So this
exactly.
is all stuff to get us to take those journeys. And if you can put those people in front of you, then it's obvious like how people like that talk or how people like that act or the kind of belief they have and all. And then you can start, it's not a copy and paste, it's like a model and paste, if you
Mhm.
will. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
and that truly helps that whole process of imagining and letting go of the outcome, right? Like you decide and then you're like, all right, let's go, which is the sweet spot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly it. And I mean, you're on my vision board. So you taught me how to do the reinvention by imagination. And, I imagine the people who are embodying the way that I want to be with that upgraded identity, right? So I concentrate again, no more than mine is 5 minutes and 50 seconds, I can tell you, because I listen to it every day. And I imagine these beautiful people and what they're doing in the world. And one of yours is your presence in your community. And we can talk about community. I'd love to do that too. And then we say these I am statements, right? And I am bold, I am courageous, I am audacious, I'm a great team leader. I am here with my unique gifts to heal the healers on their fertility journeys. Like, these are the things I say every single day. And it reminds me of my purpose. It reminds me of my deepest why I'm on this journey. And by analogy, whenever I meet with somebody for the first time, we get to that deepest why to understand when the times get hard, how can we really go deep and find why we're on this journey in the first place? Why are we still here? What is it we're really hoping for, right? And so when we can tune into that deepest why on a daily basis, that's one of the things that gives us that momentum to keep going, even in the face of bad news, right? So it's just so powerful. And each person can curate their own I am statements. I am fertile. I am meant to be a parent. I'm resourceful. I love that one on the fertility journey. Just like you said a few minutes ago, gosh, I got into medical school. I went through a competitive residency. I'm an attending. I cure the world of cancer, whatever it is. Like, each individual is doing such amazing things in the world. And sometimes we take that for granted. We just forget about it. We're like, oh yeah, that boring thing that nobody cares about. And I'm like, what? So again, we have to bring that out and say, there was a time you didn't know you were going to get into medical school. There was a time you didn't know you're going to match into your specialty. Like, let's draw upon those strengths and those ways that you pressed forward even in the face of uncertainty, and let's borrow those from your past successful versions and then take those, right? We take what we don't need from the past, but we can certainly keep with us what is serving us and propelling us forward. So that is so beautiful. So yes, the
I'm so
visioning.
glad you do what you do. I love that your clients get you. This
And
is
it's
so good.
working. I mean, this is the thing I want to shout from the rooftops. It is working. People with years of fertility journeys, and on paper, everything makes sense. There's something to this mindset, nervous system regulation, community. People in my community are vision boards for each other, and people are beautifully vulnerable and share, and people lean on each other. They don't need me as the mediator, just like your community. People contact each other all the time for things that they need, and people are so generous, and it's this beautiful community of support. And I think that's part of the wealth of the community, right? Like maybe
Mhm.
if you could share what your community has become, maybe even beyond your wildest imagination, and how that community is just the best thing in the world.
Yeah, I mean, community is like the ultimate hack, like really it is.
Yeah.
So I I have experienced the power of community, right? And what I know is you will mirror your community.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna be like your community, no matter. It's like standing under a vent, cold air at hot, full blast, and you're like, I'm not gonna get cold. There's no universe where you don't get cold. You're getting cold, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way community is. And I knew it was something that fast tracked my development. So when it was time to start the EntreMD Business School, many people are like, "Well, I just want one-on-one coaching." I'm like, I hear you, and I know that I'm an amazing coach. And I know that in 20 minutes, I can change your life. I'm not unaware of what my gifting is. I'm not unaware of what my zone of genius is. But I'm like, but you see the power of being in a room with other physicians who are physician entrepreneurs, who are on the same track as you are, deciding to do the mindset work and deciding to follow through the strategies and deciding to do the difficult work and deciding to build these amazing businesses. I don't have the power to give you that. Like, I'm very clear that the only thing that can give you that is a community. So the best thing I can do is curate that community for you. So I'm going to need you to be here. And in the beginning, people didn't believe me because they're like, I want Dr. Una. I'm like, I hear you. And so when I knew people had started experiencing it is when I'd asked them about their experience in the school. And like, Dr. Uda is amazing and all, but my goodness, the community, right? Like, there's a person who would be offended a little bit by that. I was like, yeah, that is exactly what I've been trying to tell you guys. So, we started off with 22 students, right? Like the very beginning of the school. And this thing has morphed into over 100 doctors in all different stages of business, right? So some just launched and they're working towards their first six figures. There's six figures, there are multiple six figures. There's seven figures, multiple seven figures. We've had people who've had seven figure quarters, months, you know, all kinds of stuff, launches, all kinds of stuff in the same community. But because the community, there's a code, right? Like, we're here. We've decided to defy the status quo. We have decided we're going to build really successful businesses. We have decided that we're going to build really successful businesses without giving up our lives. So we're building dream businesses and dream lives. We have decided it's always working. So we may go through challenging things, but we're not going to go down a negative spiral. We're going to reach out to the community and get help. Because it's that, everybody, including the person who has a seven-figure month, is getting so much value because you have the people who are not yet where you are, but they're on fire. They're doing the things you usually slack on because you're bigger now. And they're your reminder, you're slacking. Right?
That's right.
And then you have the people who are like, they just hit six figures and they see someone say, I had my first six-figure month or week or day. And they're like, oh my goodness. So you don't have a problem visionary because all your vision boards are in the community. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And everybody is rooting for everybody. A place where it's not competition, it's collaborate. Like, can you imagine type A physicians in one community and it's collaboration over a competition? You have people opening doors for different people. Like, oh yeah, I found this person, you'll be great on their podcast or speaking at their thing, or I got a speaking gig and I don't have time to do it, but I told them I'd connect to you, and all kinds of stuff, right? That are happening. And it's not just in business, it's in life too. I've had
Yes.
people tell me, I got the family I didn't know I needed in the business.
Oh, the
You know what I mean?
belonging. Well, I think, one of the most painful parts of the fertility journey is the incredible isolation. Everyone feels like a zebra, like they're alone. And I think that's true about entrepreneurship too. You're like, nobody is bushwhacking the path that I'm trying to do here. And so, how do I do that with, like, in my situation, zero business classes? I was a great books major in college and with a pre-med minor, like, how does a person like me, but I have an incredible drive and a work ethic, I have belief, and now I have this supportive community and a roadmap. And I will tell you, when I can say I have ditched overwhelm, I wanted to bring this up. It is 100% true. And, it took me maybe 5, 6 months of being in the business school. And I was like, how does anybody ever not get overwhelmed? Isn't that the catapult for action? And I mean, it was just sort of part of my limiting beliefs, is that you have to be overwhelmed to take massive action. And then, working with Dr. Una, when she kept saying, we don't do overwhelm. We just make a list of things. And, we have our priorities and we have our 20%, and, we can learn how to delegate and all those things. I just listened. Sometimes you don't really believe it at first. You kind of just let the information percolate in, or maybe you see an example of somebody who is doing that and it actually is kind of working out for them. And so you're like, oh, she's not overwhelmed. Maybe, right? This possibility thinking, maybe there's a pathway. I cannot tell you the amount of energy I have backed from not being overwhelmed. It's a beautiful thing. And, your CEO calendar and all the tools that you have, I mean, all of these are pertaining to business. So if you have a business idea that you've always wanted to try, maybe it's Etsy, maybe it's, splitting off and making your own private practice. Maybe you're a coach. I mean, people approach me every single day right now because they're like, whoa, look at what you're doing. Like, how do you do that? And I'm like, the EntreMD Business School. So if you have an idea, what I would say is listen to the podcast, read the books. They are so rich. And I think what attracted me most to working with Dr. Una, and I'm not shy about the fact that I interviewed a lot of coaches, business coaches, I read a lot of books, I went to different webinars, but it was really your values, Dr. Una, that really drew me in, because when you said dream life, dream business, and that you're a person of integrity, serve and earn, I feel a deep calling to do. It is my reason for being on this earth, right? Professionally is to serve the healers so that they can build their families. And when I connect to that calling and really connect to that notion of serving and earning, that's when I start to think about what to do. And there is not a day that goes by, kid you not, there's not a day that goes by that my EBS sisters do not, and brothers, we have men too, but like just a few, but my EBS sisters, we reach out to each other every single day. I was getting my hair done on Sunday and I had a question about, a virtual assistant. So I knew I needed to text 3 people. in that, like in the moment, writing back, like this is what been my experience. This is what I think you need, da 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 da, and it's so beautiful. And even on a personal level, like family members with health issues, and maybe there's a doctor in the school who did not know that this kind of healthcare was available, and you can connect people through time zones and all sorts of things, and they check up, even yesterday, how's everything going, anything else I can do to help. I mean, this is the most generous community that I've ever been a part of. I try to model the same values and the same culture of non-competition, collaboration, support, safety, and I think that's what you do, Dr. Una, is you create this incredibly safe community for people to take risks, to ditch the overwhelm, to be very driven, and to lean on each other, to realize that we're stronger together. We can open up doors for each other. Even in the beginning, I was like, somebody sees me on their vision board. What is going on here?
Of
Right. But
course.
you then realize that you have gifts to add to the community. And it's this beautiful network of support. And, my renewal is coming up. I, fully plan on joining for year 3, because it's not even yes, love and science. I mean, I think everyone sees the growth, and everyone sees the community, and how many women are having transformations and babies and all those things. But it's also the upgraded version of myself where I am more confident. I ask more questions. I am a better negotiator. I'm not afraid of hearing no. No in my world means not yet. I'm able to just model this belief in everything that I do. And I think that when you think about the fertility journey, what's missing for so many people is that belief that it's possible.
Yeah.
And I think the more we can be in communities of belief, right, even without sort of our own proven, yes, this is indeed going to happen in this exact way, when we can lean into that belief, I truly think anything is possible.
So let me hijack your podcast for a few minutes here, if
Please,
you don't mind. And
please.
I think it's important because um, what you do is it's not it's not a it's not a business. It looks like a business, right?
Mm.
But what it is you're on a mission to help these physicians build the families that they want to build, and you're taking them on the more challenging path for you, not for them, right? Because for them, it leads to results, but it's easy to just come up with a workbook and do some rah rah stuff and all of that. But to stay with the human and help them develop belief, help them build community, give them the best shot, and you have the receipts. Like you're somebody to follow. I'm saying this to say, if you are and this is not something we plan, this is not a gimmick, okay? If you're somebody who has thought of working with Dr. Bo, you like you can pause this right now. You can stop it right now, actually, and go connect with her. Go book a call. Go do whatever she'll tell us at the end. Whatever she tells you, go do that. And if there's somebody in your world who needs that, do it for them. And the reason I say that is, one, you truly are giving them their best shot. You truly are getting them results. You're truly changing their lives. But the thing with that is the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And so if
True.
you master this with your family, guess where you're going to use it? Everywhere else. Because it's what she's doing is not extra, like, let's get you this result. No, she's coming right to you, like, let's make you the kind of person who can have these kind of results. Let's make you the kind of person who can have that. So you don't have that for just one area of your life. That's not the way it works. And so guess what you're
No.
going to do with your finances? You're going to say, but what if? Guess what you're going to do with your health? I wonder. What if? Guess what you're going to do with your career? Like, everything changes.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, you can stop this right now and and get in touch with Dr. And I'm so serious about it, Dr. Bove, because I'm not being critical of anybody else. I don't even know that many people in your world who do what you do, but it is so easy to start a business to make a buck. It is the more challenging path to start a business to transform lives, which will lead to a thank you note, which is the buck. Do you see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the buck is happening one way or another, but the ROI, the return on investment for the person who works with someone like you is unbelievable. So yes,
Yeah.
that's all. I hijacked it for a few minutes. You're good now.
No, and I think, it's the love and the science. I think that's what I'm so passionate about is, my perspective of doing this for so many years. I can say, "Hey, have you considered a blood thinner? Your situation's there's a lot of clotting in your family or whatever. Oh, hey, like have you or even like doses of supplements. Sometimes people just don't know." And so it's sort of that like I deeply, deeply care about each person. And I believe every single person is on their pathway for a reason. The dots just haven't been connected yet. And you're right about the upgrading of the identity. People tell me all the time, my marriage has never been better. I have never felt more seen by my husband. He gets it now. He gets why I don't want to go to that wedding and be asked 20 million questions about when the next baby's coming, or people say, I set a boundary at work and said, I'm not going to take call 24 hours after my embryo transfer. And then people then catch on. They're like, I did that too. It can be done, and I think we all have given so much to medicine already. And I even think some resentment can set in, right? And I think
Mhm.
this is the time to take it back. Dream life, dream business, right? Dream life, dream family. I mean, we have to be thinking about what's possible. And also you talk about all the time as your A team. We need to be cultivating our A teams to make that happen. In my world, that's you because you are a huge part of my A team to get me where I know love and science needs to go. And for me in my life, right? That's you are part of my dream team. And that's what I want to do for other people is I want people to say, I need my A team. I need my, the best REI I can find. I need my best fertility coach. I need my best therapist. These are all essential elements of the journey. They're not extras. They are essential elements. And the ROI, I mean, once that baby's in your arms, you're just like, yeah, that was amazing. Like here we are and I'm here. So anything else you want to say to our listeners, Dr. Una? I mean, I think we could go in so many different directions. I think one thing I hear you say all the time is pace of grace, right? Which, if you're a busy physician, you're working this job, you're doing all your treatments, you're doing your best, you're exhausted. Pace of grace, mindful self-compassion. I wanted to add that. But anything else as we're talking that came up in your mind that you're like, you know what? Um, this is what, the audience needs to hear.
Yeah, I think it circles back to maybe where where we started from almost, which is this whole thing about possibility. Um, Being able to lean into pictures of a preferred future is like a domino. And once we refuse that, it's like all the other things that could happen don't happen. But once we allow ourselves go there, it's a cascade of events that follow it, right?
Mhm.
And first of all, you could have people in your world, it never occurred to you that they could help you on that journey because you hadn't accepted that you were going on that journey, right? And all
Yes.
of a sudden you're like, oh wait, I have all these helpers in my world, all these A players in my world. Like, oh, wait, there's a pathway for this. Oh, wait, two people are having a conversation. You're not even part of the conversation. You're walking by, and somebody says one sentence that is the answer to a question that is part of the pathway to where you're going. Like, it's almost like if you can say yes to daring to imagine a preferred future,
Mhm.
it will lead to a cascade of other things that will get you to a point where you'll say, I have no clue how I got here.
It's
And
so
that
true.
if there's anything I want for you, I want you to live a life where, like Dr. Bove is experiencing this, where every 90 days she's like, okay, like this is our new normal. Okay. Like I would want nothing more than for you to live a life where every 90 days, every 6 months, every year, you're like, how in the world did I get
Totally.
here?
Totally.
And if it all starts with daring to dream. So I want to leave you with there's no imagination police. Nobody's stopping you. It is the fear that stops us. What if? What if it doesn't happen? If it doesn't happen, I'm where I am. I'm already here. There's no problem. It's not going to take me lower than here. But I
Right.
promise you, it's not going to leave you where you are. It's not possible. Like
Mhm.
just embrace, just say yes to those things you really want and start painting those pictures.
Mhm.
That's the life. That is the life. Yeah.
Is the life. Wow. This was so powerful. So I'm sure people are going to be like, where can I now find Dr. Una? What is the best place for people to find you?
Yeah, so the home for all things Dr. Una would be my website, entremd.com. So ENTRE, M as in Mary, D as in David, .com. So our books, the podcast, the business school, all the things we do, because, Dr. Bove is relentless about what she does for physicians who want to build families. We're relentless about what we do for physicians who want to thrive as entrepreneurs. And if you really are like, yeah, I'd love to have a conversation with your team, see, this is what I'm trying to do. How can you support us? Then entremd.com/call. And we have a great team. They'll be happy to walk you through how we can support you. But yeah,
That's
that's
right.
what
And
that's what we're here
I'm
for.
That's amazing. I'm also passionate about the EntreMD Business School. So if anybody here listening wants to DM me about my experience at EBS, I would love to have a conversation because I had no idea what was possible. No idea. I just kind of went on a gut instinct that this was the right next step for me after, a very curated process of interviewing many people. But I'm passionate and I'm so like we started with deep gratitude. I'm so very grateful for you, Dr. Una. Thank you for helping me help so many people in the world. And it just keeps getting better. So
And thank you for what you do. This makes my heart so, so, so happy. I'm gonna be on cloud nine for a bit here.
I know. And then I get to see you tonight. Tonight's
Yes.
our night. So anyway, thank you again. And to my listeners, I love you. And until the next time, bye. Thank you for listening to the Love and Science podcast. I'm so glad you joined us today. If you found this conversation valuable, if you could please rate, review, and share this podcast with your trusted people, it would mean so much to me. If you want more tools to help you navigate the fertility journey, please book a discovery call with me today. The link is in the show notes. Please do not let infertility have the final word. I'm here to take the burden from you so that you can achieve your goal of building your family. In gratitude, this is Dr. Erica Bove. I'm rooting for you always.